Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Breakfast with Tiffany Podcast right here on Anchor. It's time to wake up. Today, we're going to be talking about God, Adam and Eve, and the serpent, and how the apple or forbidden fruit, or the fruit from the tree of knowledge, is basically a metaphor. The story is a metaphor or an analogy, if you would, for drugs and how they got into the black community and how white people deceive black women into doing drugs in order to destroy our black families and our black community. So I'm going to just start off with the prayer. Same one as always. Thank you, Lord, for giving me all the gifts that you gave me, this opportunity for saving my life and soul. I pray that you speak through me, Jesus. Give me all the right words so that the explanation is clear to all those that hear this message. I pray that you touch this word and let it bring nothing but honor and glory to you. I pray that I touch someone in a very deep place. I pray that as they go through that phase of clarity and realization, that you are there to guide them through the process of acceptance and reality. I pray that I speak for all black people as a whole. I pray that my words and message are in agreement with yours. I rebuke anything that blocks this message and the message that you have to share through me. Guide me so that your word heals someone who's listening, and that no matter where they are, whether they're on the hill or the valley, that they find peace in the valley and joy on the hill. I pray that your word touches someone and that they are changed into soldiers for your army, warriors for the good and the innocent. Protect us in the spirit realm. I rebuke any negative thought, doubt, word, spell, demon, or stronghold that hinders your message. I pray that someone hears your message and makes the wonderful decision to give their life to you, your will, and your way. Because, God, with you, no weapons formed shall prosper, in the spiritual or in the physical. I pray you protect us in both realms. Cover us in your blood, grace, mercy, and power, and give us the strength and courage to come together as one and fight for what's rightfully ours and what we deserve after so many years. I hope that we are made whole through you, and I pray that you get all the glory and honor. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm still I have a lisp, so it gets in the way sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So I have to, my words, they slur a little bit, so, because I got a lisp. I have a speech impediment, so you just got to look over there until I get my billions to get my teeth fixed. Until I get that Cardi money. Excuse me. But anyway, today we're going to be talking about, like I said, God, Adam, and Eve in the Bible, and basically how we got the whole ball rolling to this destruction of our people, pride before destruction, the rise and fall of our ancient African civilization type thing. So we all know the story of Adam and Eve, and God created the earth, and so we're going to be covering chapters 1 through 3 in Genesis. Okay, so this is our textbook that we're going to be using today, is the Bible. Okay, and so I wrote down, I'm going to write my notes inside of the description so you can kind of follow along, or you can copy and paste and kind of read it for yourself. If you're a visual person, then I'll put that in the description so you can have that, you know what I'm saying? You can kind of study it or use it as a reference point, or, you know what I'm saying, use it as a guide for whatever life or whatever you may need it for. I don't know, pass it on to your kids, may help somebody else. But, okay, so God creates the heavens and earth, okay? He creates the sun, the moon, the stars, day and night, and the seas, okay? Then God created all the animals on the land, the cattle, the birds, all the way down to the insects, okay? After that, God created everything in the sea. This is where white people come in, okay? God created, whales, sharks, dolphins, seahorses, starfish, all the way down to the adversary, which is Satan. And, we all know that energy and demons and spirits are energy, you know what I'm saying? Because everything in the universe is aligned, so it all plays a part in our daily lives. So anyway, God made all the things in the sea. And so everything that God made in the sea is like mermaids. White people come from the sea, like I told y'all in the first episode. So they are considered an animal, which is why they are reptiles. They're amphibians. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not human genetically, because God created them when He created the animals. And so technically, in the eyes of God, they are sea creatures. They were made to live in, govern, and inhabit the sea. Okay? So, then, after God makes all the animals and white people, because they're animals, God makes the first man, which is Adam, the black man. So, He makes Adam in His image from the rain and from the dust. So, He basically makes Adam from the mud. He get it out the mud. He did it out the mud. Okay, yeah, that's a good one. But so God makes Adam from dust and rain, and He breathes life into Adam, and Adam comes alive. And then God gives Adam responsibility, and his responsibility was to clean and keep the garden, okay, which was earth, or the heavens, or land. You know what I'm saying? But that's basically work the land. You know what I'm saying? Take care of the animals. You know what I'm saying? Name everything. You know, because that was what Adam's job was. Like after God created the world, Adam had to name everything in the world. All the animals, all the insects, all the sea creatures, all that. And Adam had to do this because God gave Adam dominion over everything. When God made the black man, He gave him dominion over everything, all the animals in the air, all the animals of the sea, including white people. They're under that category because, like I said earlier, they are amphibians, reptiles. So because they come from the sea, they're not land. I mean, they're not man. They're not humans. You know what I'm saying? And that's why having sex with a white woman or a white man is bestiality, because they're not human. Genetically, they are amphibians or reptilian, if you know what I mean when I say that. So God gives Adam responsibility, and then He gives him dominion over everything on land. Okay, everything of the air, on all the animals of the sea. God gives him dominion over everything in the world. Okay. And on land and in the sea. So God sees the man has a lot to do. You know, he's naming all the animals, he's working the land. You know, he doesn't have time, and he's lonely. Because God, while Adam was in the garden with God, while Adam was in the garden with God, walking and talking and naming the animals, Adam told God that he brought to God's attention, it's crazy, every other animal or every other thing that you created has a female comparable mate, except for me. And so God heard him and was like, oh, he lonely. He want him in the boo. He want a wife. Okay. He wants a mate. So God said, don't you worry about it, Adam. I got you covered. Okay. So God puts Adam in a deep sleep. He takes from Adam a rib, and He makes it into a woman. And after He makes it into a woman, He brings her to Adam to see what He made from his rib. But as soon as Adam saw her, he fell in love with her. And so, he was just floored. You know what I'm saying? She was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen in his whole life. Blah, 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 blah. So, in Genesis 2, chapter 2, 23 through 25, says that Adam said, this is now bone of my bones, and the flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken from man, and they were naked or in love, and they were not afraid. They were not ashamed. I'm sorry. Naked means they were open, they were bare, they were open with their love, they let the world see that they loved each other, and they were not ashamed. Because as we all know, that this is an evil world. Satan, God created Satan, the adversary, whenever He created the world too. So if there wasn't any bad in the world, the good wouldn't feel so good. You know what I'm saying? So God had to create negative in order for you to know that there is positive, or that something is positive, if you know what I'm trying to say. Because they fell in love, God told Adam and Eve, he was trying to explain to them that they would have to fight for their love in the world, because this is like I've been saying to y'all, this is a spiritual battle between God's chosen people and Satan's chosen people. And Satan deceives us by making us think that it's that we live in a physical world, when it's really all spiritual. You know what I'm saying? So God is trying to explain to Adam and Eve that they have to stay together, that they need each other to survive in the world, and that they need to love each other to survive in the world, because the world was going to try. They were going to try to destroy the world by destroying love and destroying God, taking God out of the world. Okay, God is love, so love is God. When you talk about love, you talk about God. Okay, so, and this is why God says. And the reason why you don't see this in the Bible, because white people, they took out and put in whatever they wanted us to know. But this is a revelation that God gave to me, and that said that this is what was happening. Okay, but this is what God says, and therefore, a man shall leave his father and his mother's house and cleave to his wife, and they shall become one flesh, because the world was going to try to destroy the love that the gods have for each other. Okay, Satan was going to try to get into the world to conquer and destroy the world by destroying the love that was in the world. Okay, and God created man and woman, black man and black woman, she's his comparable mate, because they need each other to survive. Like, the black man cannot survive without the black woman, not in the world, because the world is such a cruel place, and they take the black man's love, like, they take the love from them. You know what I'm saying? They take their God from them. Like I was saying in the first episode, they take our God from us. They take our love from us. So this is the situation. The black man is physically strong, but mentally weak, and your mind, it embodies your spirit. Whatever a man thinketh, so is he. You know what I'm saying? If somebody can control your thoughts or control your mind, then they can control your actions or your body, your emotions. They can control you, basically. So, the black man is physically strong, but he is mentally or spiritually weak. So he needs spiritual and mental protection in the spiritual battle on earth that is taking place on earth between God's chosen people and Satan's chosen people, in the battle for our minds through manipulation and mind control, through deception of the devil. So, and the black woman, she is mentally strong, but she is physically weak. So she needs protection in the battle, in the spiritual battle, in the physical realm, because she's weaker. She cannot defend herself. Okay, she needs providing for, because she's not supposed to be out in the world working the land. A black man is supposed to take care of and protect a black woman. That's what God created them to do. That was and God created us to do that because we needed each other. So we can't live without each other. We have to codepend on each other. The black man and the black woman have to have each other in order to survive and thrive in the world and in the spiritual battle that God has placed his people and made his people for. We're like toy soldiers in the army of God. He created us to be his little toy soldiers and fight for him and his word and our God on earth. It's like in a game, like on Mortal Kombat, you know how you can pick or like in racing games or whatever, like race car games, you can pick like where you want to race at or where you want to battle at. Like, that's what it is. Like, him and God picked, okay, what planet we gonna battle on? We're gonna battle on Earth. Okay, well, God and Satan are energies. They're spirits, positive and negative forces. So a man has a body that can house a spirit, okay? So, or a temple, a mind that can house a spirit. The mind is the temple, that, you know what I'm saying? So, and the body houses the temple. So, like I was saying, if somebody can control your mind, they can control your body. So that's why God made black men and black women to have to be together and have to be dependent on each other, because that is the black man's comparable mate. There's no other mate. God created the black woman specifically for the black man because he asked for a mate that was comparable to him, that was the same as him. He wanted a mate like him, a female gender of a mate like him. That's why the black woman is strong. But he couldn't make us strong in the same places, because then we'll bump heads. He had to make us strong in two different places, because number one, the battle was in two different places, in the spiritual and in the physical. So he had to make us all strong in two different places, so that we could not leave each other, so that we had to stay together so we would not die. And so this is why it was so important for white people to separate the black woman and the black man from each other, so that they can procreate with us and continue their agenda to take over the heavens, so they can rule the land and conquer the world. So now, here's an example of them depending on each other. During slavery, when they first brought us back on land off the boat, the black women were praying, singing, and chanting together, casting spells on the masters to protect the minds of the black men from being manipulated by the masters. And they were working because the masters were getting sick and dying. And the black men were still fighting to protect their families because they still loved their wives. And that's why white people had to separate us with the slave trade, because we're stronger together. When your mom and your family and your wife and your children are all together, and y'all can all speak the same language, which is why they took our language also, because they didn't know what the hell we were saying and they was getting sick. And because we was casting spells. So that's why they took our language also, and they separated us, because they figured out they're stronger together, so we have to divide and conquer. That was their plan. So that's when boom, that's why the black man and the black woman need each other, okay? Because if they can separate us, then they can conquer us. So boom, back to the story. God knew the serpent was going to try to rule the world with drugs. And so, in knowing this, God went to Adam and Eve and told them not to do drugs, okay? He told them not to do any drugs, period. Like, drugs are not for us. Drugs are not for the gods. Don't do any drugs, because God already knew how Satan was coming. But like, God gives us free will. So he can't tell us everything. He can only warn us about what's going on. It's like, you know how people tell you, like, well, I can't make you believe in God. I can't make you believe in Jesus. All I can do is tell you about the word. All I can do is tell you about God. If you choose not to believe, then that's on you. Your salvation isn't on me anymore, because I told you. So God is basically right there with us. Like, I can't tell you everything, because then I take away your free will. But I told my people not to do drugs, period. So, or that will be the day that you surely die, because that's going to be the day that they're able to separate us from each other, and we're each other's lifeline, the black man and the black woman. So, meanwhile in hell, okay, the serpent, like I said, God created them with the animals, so they were alive before God created man. So they seen God create us and how much he loved us, and what he told us, how he told us to love each other, and how our survival depended on us loving each other. They saw that. They knew that. Like I said, they've been watching us for centuries. You know what I'm saying? So the serpent, chapter 3 verse 1 says that the serpent was the most cunning of all beasts that the Lord had made. So that means he's the most conniving, he's the most conning, the most manipulative, the most deceptive, aka evil beast that God had made. So the white man, okay? Because that's what Satan stands for. Satan, that's what he represents. That's what white people represent. They represent Satan and his agenda, and no love, and loving money and stuff like that. Everything that God hates. You know what I mean? So it says that he was the most cunning of all the beasts on the earth. So he sent the white man told the black man, the only reason why your women love you so much is because you're so good to them. Our women are better, you know. So they said, let us test her. And so the black man told the white man, okay, well, you can test her, but you can't touch her life. Well, that's what God told Satan. Your people can test my people, but they can't touch their lives, because I have a purpose for my people. You know, that's what God is telling Satan. And so whenever white people came to, the white man sent the white woman to Eve, she befriended Eve, because it says while Eve was in the garden, that means, stands for like going throughout life, while she was living her life, making friends, making relationships, she in college, you know what I'm saying, trying to do something with herself, trying to better her life, you know what I mean. The serpent came, befriended the white girl. The white woman came and befriended Eve, and deceived Eve, tricked Eve into doing drugs or eating the apple from the tree of knowledge. And how she did this, white people have the power of creating illusions and manipulating reality and the way that things look on the surface. So if you don't look deeper, then you're easily fooled and manipulated by their games. So when God warned Adam and Eve about doing drugs, he told them no. That's why God said no drugs, period. Okay. The serpent tricked Eve by making it look like an apple, okay? But it was really the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge. So she made it look like it was a different drug, but it really was another drug. She made it look like it was Molly, but it really was ice, okay? So because of that, Eve was on drugs, and then Eve gave the drugs to Adam, or the black man, and then boom, that's how drugs got into our community. And God, when God came back and saw all these black people, all of his chosen people on drugs, he was like, what the fuck is going on here? So he went to go find Adam and Eve, because they were the first ones, and asked them what the hell happened. And so Adam blamed Eve. Eve told God that the serpent deceived her. She tricked me. She tricked me. So God cursed the white man of most of all the people in this situation who got cursed. First, he cursed the white man, and he cursed him with to be below cattle. Like, so below the land, like you can't even be up here with us. Okay? He cursed him to be below cattle. He cursed him with enmity, ENMITY. I don't really know how to pronounce it, but you'll have to Google it. But it's like a hate or a great disgust for between the white man and the black woman and their children. So because the white man really wanted the black woman, God cursed the white man from the black woman because of his jealousy and his manipulation and the way that he went about to try to attain what he wanted, which was the black woman, in order to procreate with her, to rule the world, to be able to conquer the world and rule it. Okay, so God curses him with enmity and to be on his belly, which is why they're in the sea. You know, mermaids, they swim, to be on his belly, and hate or disgust between the white man and the black woman's children. So then after that, God curses Eve with pain during, and because Eve is the mother of everything living, this applied to all women, and white. This applied to all women, all of all color. So he cursed us with pain during childbirth, great sorrow, and for our desires to be unto our men, and for them to rule over us. And this was bad because men are selfish creatures, okay? Men are deceitful creatures. God and the devil, in my mind, in my theory, are best friends. And the devil is a white man and God is a black man. And you know what I'm saying? And they're best friends. And that's how this whole situation came into play. But there's a God bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? So you always have to answer to the one true God. And God gave the black man, the black woman as a gift, as a present, as protection for him, because he would need her in battle. He needs her for survival. So if he lets go of the black woman, or he mistreats the black woman, or he harms the black woman, then he harms himself, because he loses his protection. So God curses the black man for listening to his wife and for allowing Eve to be tempted by the serpent into doing drugs, because Eve was innocent and she did not know about manipulation or the works or ways of the devil. She was ignorant and he did not educate her. And he also cursed Adam to work the field until the day that he dies, to work the land. From dust I made you, and dust you shall return. He cursed Adam, the black man, to work it until he dies, because he betrayed his woman. He went against his God, the mother of his children, of his race, of all living. He went against his God, the God of the land. You know what I'm saying? Which was his woman. So and God he curses man to work and provide until the day that he dies, basically. So God basically tells Adam, if you don't work, you don't eat. So the Lord, after that, you know what I mean, the Lord said, behold, the man has become like one of us, to know good and evil. And now lest he put out his hand and take also the tree of life and eat, and he shall live forever. When white people deceived black people into doing drugs, the white man was able to separate us from one another. Both the black man and the black woman, because of that, lost their protection in the spiritual battle and in the physical battle that we have to fight for God, for our God, because we are his chosen people. And so Satan and his people don't want black people to love each other, and put jealousy and envy in us, and want us to love money and don't want no love in the game, because they know that that's what we need to survive. They know that that's what we have to have. We have to have each other, and we have to have love in order for black people to survive and thrive in the spiritual battle and in the physical battle for God and his glory and his army and his word. And if you don't have the black man, don't have the black woman, then they will surely die. Because if you don't have love and you do not love each other, then that gives people the opportunity to buy, sell, and trade you. And if you love, then they're not able to do that. They're not able to pay for your child's life, pay for your wife's life, pay for your husband's life. Love trumps money when you love, because you will not let any harm come to what you love. And that's why they don't want there to be any love in the game. But God tells black people that we have to love. We have to stay together. That's why he made us dependent on each other. That's why one of us lacks something that the other one has. So you have to go out and find the black woman or the black man for you that is your mate, because there's somebody out there for all of us, because that's what God created us for. That's what he created us to do. And if black people don't love and we don't start loving each other, then we're going to be subjected to manipulation and mental enslavement, rape, murder, wrongful and illegal incarceration for the rest of our lives, because we're going to be mentally and physically enslaved to Satan and the works of his people. And they are still manipulating us to this day, and it's because of the black man's greed, ignorance, miseducation, and manipulation of his woman. We had to pay for their sins for damn near 400 years, and the whole time the men been blaming the black woman, saying that it's our fault, when it's really their fault, because they were supposed to protect the black woman. God appointed the black man to take care of and protect the black woman in the physical realm. There's supposed to be no harm done to the black woman at the hand of the black man in the physical, because that goes against his purpose and what God assigned him to do. God assigned the black man to provide and protect the black woman, and allowing her to be tempted with drugs by white people was failure to do what God called him and told him and purposed him to do. So just some questions like to think about. That's pretty much the gist of everything that I had to say, but just some questions to think about. Why did white people need to enslave black people? Why did God put hate or disgust between the white man and the black woman? And how are drugs used to destroy the black community? And why did the serpent deceive Eve? And another thing I want y'all to think about and kind of discuss, you can comment, you can, on any video or any podcast or whatever, respond to it. I love feedback, like that'll be great. And I just want to have a discussion thing kind of go on, and just kind of know, like, from your perspective of the story and of the facts, who do you think sinned against God first, the black man or the black woman? Comment, like, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. I hope it's been informational. I hope that you learned something new, and that you decide to, get down with God, because, that's the best place to be. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, God is so awesome and he's so great, and I hope that you manifest the God inside of you and give your life to Jesus. Well, give your life to Jesus Christ or Yeshua, whatever you want to call him. He got many names too, so King of Kings, Lord of Lords, whatever. But thank you guys again for tuning in. Until next time, this is Breakfast with Tiffany Podcast. It's time to wake up. I'm Tiffany, aka Roxanne, aka Mary Magdalene, Tiffany, Mackenzie, Sophia, the realest one you know. Thank you, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Peace, love, and hair grease.